Hey guys, it's me, Rem. I apologize because I know that I should have filmed this a long time ago. I hit a bit of a creative wall, but I'm a little bit better now. And I know this is not the normal way in which I typically format my videos, but uh, yeah, well, here we are. The purpose of what I'm going over today is to serve as a reminder for things that you guys have done thus far, because tomorrow's session will be primarily a role play session. You will have an opportunity to do like other things and try to fulfill like things that you need to fulfill, right? Like going over to the pub and doing all the things that you want to do. But like I said, to mostly role play. So, where to start? Session one, back when we first started for Valor. So, um, a few of you were approached by Magister Malin. Um, I have to go back up. This fella here, Magister Malin. He reached out to some of you guys to help with this war against the elves. All of you guys agreed, but you were basically acting as independent agents in this war. Okay, he sent you all to Valor or Valorwood, I should say, and on the way, you picked up Allie Mae, who mysteriously appeared again from being sent off into that other dimension by Apocrythar the Lich, if you guys recall, back from the first campaign. Apocrythar, that was Edwin Jervis, and he tricked you guys into getting him magical artifacts to help him become a Lich. Yeah, that guy. Anyways, Allie Mae's memory of the events are gone and has no idea what is going on and why she is where she is. But regardless, she joined you guys on your adventure to Valor. You guys went there with your trusty stagecoach driver, Jackass Ashhole, and everything was fine and dandy. You all had some banter. You actually all talked to your newest companion, Dresh Makar, who has a fun little back and forth with Augustine Thunderheart. But anyways, you guys got to Valor proper. You went to Craig's Creek, and there you met with Nevik the Lightning. You guys remember Nevik, right? The hot-headed leader of Fallbrook. Yeah, you that guy. So, anyways, you met up at Craig's Creek. You walked through the streets, met some of the people, and this is where you met Zephyrin Cochran. I don't need to go into any detail about Zephyrin Cochran. You guys know who that is. You don't like him, is the best way of putting it. But Zephyrin was assigned to you guys, and his whole deal is that he wants to become king of the elves. Okay? You guys were tasked with scouting out your first forward operating base in the region, which you guys did. You guys went and you scouted 3 different areas. You guys decided on this one here, the mountainous region of Fallbrook, which eventually became Forestoria. If you guys do recall, I'm sure you do because we went here 2 months ago. Um, that was the first session. You also got to see some friendly faces. You got to see Paste Pot Pete, blah blah. So that was the first session. The second session, just give me 1 second to change the view. I know this is not the normal way I do these videos. You'll have to roll with me. The second session involved you guys destroying an Elven forward operating base. Now, you guys traveled to the I'm not going to tell you exactly where. I want to try to keep this video short and sweet. You guys, in the second session, came to this Elven base right here. You killed a few people here, but a couple of you picked up on the fact that there were not a lot of people here. That was because it was revealed that this whole forward operating base for the elves was designed to be a trap to lure in Zephyr Cochran so that they could try to capture him. After you guys did away with like the very few elven soldiers that were here, you guys were approached by the first Valorwood squad captain, Servitarius Rex, a captain who I'm sure, I don't know if you guys recall, very tall, very pale, loincloth, cannot die. And he was here to help capture Zephyr Cochrane. You all escaped, but you destroyed this elven base, okay? Now, because you guys did this, there was a third mission that you guys were supposed to go on. You guys were supposed to go and escort um, a caravan. You guys decided not to do that, and because you guys did not do that, the caravan was attacked, and your trusty stagecoach driver, Jackash Ashwell, was reported missing alongside other people. Now, oh, and just because I want to make this fun, I don't know if you guys remember here, but this is the notorious two grapes or two berries, two berries. Allie may knows what I'm talking about here. Two berries. Anyways, that was the second session. The third session, you guys, through Dresh Makar, had to investigate the church. You guys did indeed investigate the church, and it was here that some things were coming up in the offset. That being that the soldiers of Craig's Creek were very hungry. You guys were also like low on rations as well. However, getting into it, you guys determined that there was something wrong with the church. There's something not particularly right with everything that was going on, and you found a secret entrance that led into an underground part of the church. Here, you guys found that they had elves here locked up, half elves in particular. You guys found the bow of Eternal Night in this area here. If you guys recall, the bow of Eternal Night was a special artifact that Allie Mae had back during the Fallbrook campaign. And you guys also went into this part here, this chapel part, where they knew that you guys were there, that they had been found out, and they had set traps for you guys. In this particular area right here, you guys actually found Persephone, your comrade from the Fallbrook campaign. She was one of the half elves that were looking in this area. You guys also had a special attaché that joined you. It was Natalie Sutton, somebody who is a aspiring cleric who joined up with you guys in the start of this session. Played by our good pal Tyler, and it was Natalie who actually saved Persephone. But anyways, the trap was set off here in the session, and you guys had to quickly run to the entrance because you guys had 10 turns to basically get to the exit. Some of you guys wanted to go back for the elven prisoners, but you guys did not have the chance to do that. That was session 3. Session 4, you guys decided, you know what? We feel bad about the whole fiasco with the stagecoaches not going to escort them. That you guys decided we'll go and look for some survivors instead. You guys came to this battlefield. You found a lot of people here dead. You found one guy here. He had this stagecoach pinned on top of him. He was barely clinging to life. I don't remember what one of you guys did, but one of you guys accidentally killed him. I don't remember how, but you guys did. But it was here where you guys had this interaction. You were looking all around. You found a lot of dead and no supplies. Especially, you did not find any sign of Jackash Ashel. You guys came here. You did actually find the entrance, this drought entrance, which would also later be used as one of the parts for another session, for our previous session, if you guys recall. But eventually, you guys ended up here where you found this stagecoach, which used to belong to Jackash Ashel, that he left for you guys in the case of his demise and whatnot. You guys took this stagecoach and you used it to escape because you guys were ambushed once again by Sevitarius Rex. So that was session 4. I hope you guys are still with me. I don't know how much time there's been. We're almost done, guys. We're halfway through. We're in session 5 now. Now, for this session, this one, simple. But before I go on to this part, this session here, what went on in the offset was you guys found out that rations were scarce. The soldiers of Craig's Creek were very hungry because you guys had the option to go on a wild hunt. You guys chose not to do that in lieu of finding supplies. You guys didn't find supplies. You did find the stagecoach, but you guys opted to rob an elven stagecoach, which you guys did. You set up an ambush here with Zephyr Cochran's help, using your new acquired stagecoach given to you guys, were bequeathed to you guys by, I can hear you laughing, Cup. Yes, I said bequeathed. Anyways, I can hear you set up an ambush. It was here where you guys were successful in stopping the stagecoach drivers. However, this particular one right here took off. You guys took on after him, and it was a fun little thing. You had Oxing Thunderheart, who was driving the stagecoach. This one, jackasses. Cupcake Cutie was, or Cupcake Cutie, Allie Mae was here, shot at the enemy stagecoach driver, ended up hitting Oxting instead. Good times. You guys succeeded in stopping them and getting the supplies. However, you guys also found out that this too was a trap. You were ambushed by, I think it was Squad 11, the rejects. Squad 11, again, one of the Valorwood squads. These guys were experiments led by Captain Valerius, I believe his name is, an elven archer who had specialized arrows. I believe Allie Mae now has some of those specialized arrows. But anyways, you guys got into a fight with them, and it was a tough fight. Some of you guys almost died, but you managed to defeat this squad. And that was session 5. I hope you guys are still with me. We're almost done. Yeah, so let me just zoom in. Again, I know this is not our normal forte for how we do these. I apologize. Now, half of you guys were not here for this session, so I just need to let you know what happened. Terrigan, another comrade that you guys made along the way, had joined you guys in your campaign in the very first session, played by our good pal Abril, and Terrigan was arrested alongside Zephyr Cochran. The reason? Because somebody had stolen secret plans and the defensive capabilities of Craig's Creek, and it was believed that it was the elves that did it. Now, after a series of different of investigations led particularly by oh my god, I cannot remember his name, Dresh Makar, you guys determined that the person who was responsible for trying to steal these plans away was your good pal Paste Pot Pete. Paste Pot Pete was responsible for stealing these plans and to try to get to the elves, but Pete himself wasn't Pete. Pete was actually an elven spy that had used disguised self to make themselves look like Paste Pot Pete. So, yeah. Now, something I did want to share with you guys here, just to stop along the way, right? Because we didn't get to this part. Pete's house right here. Now, we won't be coming back to this, and those of you that were in this session didn't get a chance to see this house, but this is what Pete's house looks like, and the spy had nothing to do with what was going on in Pete's house. Now, I'm sure you guys now know what's going on with Pete, but at the time, I had intended for you guys to come here, see this destruction. No, it wasn't the spy that was responsible for this. However, it's also important to identify as well that in the interim, you guys also went to this area here, a farmer's house. The farmer had been up to some no good. And I think out of everyone in particular, it was Dresh Makar who found a particular interest in this farmer, this singing farmer who was not going to throw away a shot. Hunter, I know you know what I'm talking about. Um, so yes, singing farmer, and he was captured and arrested, and it was revealed that this farmer had some connection to this new cult that was hunting down half elves, all the way from back in session 3. Anyways, moving on. That was session 6. We only have 3 more sessions left to go, and this one I don't need to spend a lot of time talking about. I'm sure by this point you guys actually do remember this. So, you guys were tasked with going and going to Fort Astoria because Fort Astoria was being attacked. I'm just going to pick up like just one here. Fort Astoria was going to be attacked by a combination of high elves and forest elves. You guys were assigned to protect Fort Astoria, while half of the army held off the forest elves and half of the army held off the high elves. Ultimately, you guys were successful, though you were almost killed in the process. But yeah, you guys, a lot of you almost died. I think at one point, it was Tay Petrikov who had entered into death saving throws like 2 times. But anyways, you guys were eventually saved by the vampires from Fallbrook. If you guys recall those guys, which I will go into a little bit of a discussion afterwards. But you guys were saved by the vampires there. You were trying to hold this defense until Nevik the Lightning King with reinforcements, but at the time it was raining heavily, which caused mudslides in the area. So that was session 7. Session 8, you guys decided for session 8 to go and hunt down some stragglers. It's here where you guys met with your newest ally, the Witness, who is a vampire who works closely with Khan, the villain of the last campaign that we did. If you guys recall Khan, the vampire lord, here he was talking. He's like, "Hey guys, let's work together. You know, like our interests are aligned. I want humanity to win. You guys want humanity to win. Let's make humanity win together." That's basically what he said. So together, all of you guys went through the forest to hunt down any potential stragglers so that they wouldn't like band together to form a counterattack. You guys found a survivor that was across the way here, and you found Paste Pot Pete, who was pinned underneath these trees here. Pete told you it was a trap, and here you guys were attacked by sanguine elves. The sanguine elves, they did a number on you guys. You guys were fine for the most part. You were fighting them off fairly well, but Pete here transformed into a weeping werewolf. You guys recall the weeping werewolf? I need to take a break to essentially explain to you guys why that happened in case you guys don't recall. Last year when we were doing, can you guys believe it's been a year already? But last year when we were doing the campaign for Fallbrook, you guys fought the Weeping Wolf. If you guys don't recall, I'm just going to bring it up quickly here. Weeping Wolf. This thing, if you guys recall, this little doodad right here, the Weeping Wolf. You guys fought that just outside that bandit camp, Dren's Hideaway, if you guys recall. Here is where Pete got beat up real bad by the Weeping Werewolf, and you guys left Pete in the care of those bandits, Dren's Hideaway. After that event, Pete wasn't doing too well at all. And because of that, he became he took on the curse of the Weeping Werewolf. In fact, I even alluded to it as well, because when the Weeping Werewolf died, his last ability was Curse of the Weeping Wolf, which at the time you guys were like, well, shit, did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? But no one wondered if Pete got it. But anyway, Pete got it, became a Weeping Werewolf. It was the Witness here who, funny enough, who noticed that for whatever reason, Pete was going off and killing, attacking, I should say, anyone who's an elf. That meant that he killed some of the Sanguine Elves, but he also went out after Zephyrin Cochrane and Terrigan. Pete eventually took off as you guys were trying to fight him, and that was the end of this session. Now, guys, we are at the last session that I do need to talk about with you guys, and I know you guys remember this. We did this basically a month ago, more than a month ago, in fact. You guys went with Barnaby Jones to investigate, if you guys recall, this little doodad back from session 3. You guys came here, entered into this dungeon to find a special artifact called the Flame Crown that belonged to the Scorch Prince. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of that session too much. I just want you guys to remember the bare basics. But it was in this session here where you guys entered into this dungeon. There were lots of traps, a lot of traps. I don't know if Oxstein and Braun, if you guys recall, but you guys opened a chest and you got your asses launched down this precipice right here. But the majority of you guys pressed on. Everything was grand. Everything was great. One of you guys actually got a very special artifact that I was really surprised about. That ruby, the jewel that I believe it was. I think it was. In fact, I do know it was Dresh Makar who swallowed that gem. I was very surprised that you guys did that, and I was really happy that you did. But anyways, at the very end, you guys came to this part of the dungeon right here where you took the crown and you guys had to decide who you were going to give the crown to. You had 4 options. Now, Allie Mae had promised a while ago, in fact, a long time ago, she had promised uh, Fred Stanford of Stanford and Son a special artifact from a dungeon for giving her a low price on some stuff, so on some healing potions as well as some arrows. And she had the chance to square things up there. It was Mateo Ardeth who had promised a special artifact to the tavern keeper for gaining access to a special bottle of vintage wine. That at this point, Matt Mateo could have given him this crown to square up that debt. You guys have the option of allowing the archaeologist Barnaby Jones to take it with him to the Archaeological Society of Duskbury to study the crown and understand its properties, and to get paid for it as well. Or you guys could have given it to Zephyrin Cochrane to increase his magical abilities. In the end, the majority of you guys decided to give it to the Archaeological Society. That's where you guys are right now. Now, that is everything that there is about this whole thing. I hope. How much time is left? 20 minutes. Okay. Just quickly, some other things that I did want to bring up because this video's gone on long enough. You have Apocrythar, the Lich, right? That, like, I want you guys to remember in the background. Apocrythar, the Lich, Nevik the Lightning. You know, your relationship with Nevik. I honestly at this point, I think maybe I've jogged your memories enough. I'm gonna start the video here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.